The purpose of a coil is to create a rope of clay that can be used to build up the sides of your project. Please write this on your worksheet now. So this is our finished coil here. Now we're going to be making a coil. Our first step is to tear off an eyeball-sized piece of clay. Many students make the mistake of taking too much clay, and then it makes it more difficult to make a nice even coil. So we pinched off an eyeball-sized piece of clay. And now we're going to kind of roll it and pinch it into a cylinder shape. Think Tootsie Roll candy. Okay, so we've got our cylinder shape. And there's a couple different ways to do the following steps, but I've found what works best for me is to use both hands, one at first, and then pinch and roll, just keeping it really even the whole time. Some people make the coil by going like this in their hands, and if you can do that, great. It's not something that works out for me. So just continuing to make that nice and even. As I'm continuing to roll, I'm going to check the thickness of the coil. And I want it to be about as thick as my pinky finger. So I've got about the right thickness here, but it's not quite even, so I'm going to pinch a little bit, again using both those hands. If I start to go like this with the coil, what's going to happen is that I'm going to get thin spots. First, I'd like you to think about what the coil looks like to you. Now that you've decided what the coil looks like to you, I'm going to show you a couple common problems that students have with coils. One problem is that they might twist the clay like this using hands like this, and it breaks off pieces, also ending up with coils that are really uneven and broken, which you don't want. Another problem that I see happening is that as the coil is being rolled, what happens is it kind of flattens out a little bit too much. So the coil is flat, and then you think, oh, I'm going to fix it by rolling it up. The problem with that is that, see how there's some air in there, and it's going to get trapped as you roll it. So you're actually creating tons of little air pockets all along here. I'm going to show you with a thicker piece of clay what that looks like from the side so we can avoid this problem. So this is just a little bit bigger piece to let you see what that looks like when it gets kind of flattened, and then you begin to roll it up anyways as you trap that air inside that little pocket. So even if it might end up looking okay, you've trapped all these air bubbles inside, which is not a good thing. So this is our finished coil here. If you'll notice that it's about the thickness of my pinky, maybe a little bit thinner. But mainly what you want to do is match it to the thickness of the pinch pot base that you've made. Next we'll learn how to join these two pieces.